In this video, we are going to learn about resource management. So in educational institutions, whatever is the type of management, the important area will be the resources and time only. This resources, it is divided into three types. One is human resource, one is material resource, another one is financial resource. So total there are three types of resource management. So let's see them one by one. Okay, so now let us see about the first type of resource management, which is human resources. So if you take human resources, population of a country. So population of a country is human resource, right? A country has many people living. So all those people, they will come under the human resource. And each person would have done some education. So their level of education. Next, they would have undergone some training. If they want to become a teacher, they would have done some training for that. If they want to become an engineer, after completing engineering, they'll do some training in order to join a job. Next, they'll do some social service to people. So these all comes under the population of a country. So each person does different things. Each one would have completed an education up to some level. After completing, they would have chosen their path, and in that they would have done some training. Next, social service to people, that most of us do. Next, in educational institutions, what is very important? In educational institution, human resource is nothing but the teacher. Teacher is the human resource. So if you take this teacher, you cannot just like that choose a teacher. You are supposed to choose a teacher who is eligible for teaching the students efficiently, who can teach well. Who can teach well? Only the person who has completed a degree on education properly can teach the students well and get good results for the institution. If you randomly choose some teacher, you cannot get good results. You have to choose the teacher who has completed the necessary degree with good scores in order to teach the students well. And you should not select just by testing their knowledge. You should also make them to take some demo class. By looking at their way of teaching, you have to choose the staffs for the school, for working in a school. Next, they should have the capacity of organizing the curricular and co-curricular activities. Now, if some co-curricular activity has to be organized, the teacher should not be like, I don't know to do. That should not be the way in which the teacher should reply. The teacher should be able to organize it and do it properly. So for that to happen, you have to select the teacher who is really good enough to do all these jobs. Next, you have to give proper salary for the teacher. You should not give very less salary. When you give proper salary, they will get motivated and they will do their job properly. Next, regular promotions. If they are performing really well, you need to give them promotions. Next, if they are really getting good results in students, then you have to give them incentives too. Next, if they are working so efficiently, then you need to give them extra incentives. If they are working really hard for getting a good name for the institution and a good name for all the students, then you definitely have to give some incentive in order to encourage them. Next, you should give them freedom to teach in their own way. You should not be like, you have to teach only this. Like, you have to teach only in this method. You should not tell like that. They can teach in their own way. Whichever is comfortable for them, they can use that method of teaching. Our ultimate aim is they just have to understand what we are teaching. It's not like they should follow only our way of teaching. They'll have their own way. Only thing is, the students should understand what they are teaching. That should be done properly. So this is about the management of human resources. Next type of resource management is management of material resources. So even if good employees are there to teach in an educational institution, just the teacher is not enough to run a school successfully. Even you need the materials in a school. So material plays a vital role. You need materials at right time. Only then the school can run properly. So materials, if you take, they fall under two categories. One is consumable goods, another one is durable goods. So first let's see what is consumable goods. Consumables other name is non-durable goods. So under this, materials like chemicals which we purchase for laboratories and office stationaries, all that will come. Now if you're using a chemical, you cannot reuse it. Once you use it, it's gone. Next, stationary items which you use in office. If you take a pin of a stapler, obviously when you use the pin, it is gone. You cannot reuse the same pin again. So here no reuse. Once you use, it's gone. If everything is completed, you have to buy a new stock of those materials. So once it has been used, you need to buy new stock for consumable goods. Next, you should maintain a consumable stock register. In that register, you have to give details like in which date you have purchased that material. Next, how much quantity of that item you have purchased. Next, how much quantity of that material you have used. Next, on which date you have used that material. All this you have to write in that stock register. Next, you need to get the signature of the person who has used that. Who has used that material, that person should put a sign. So, all these come under consumable or non-durable goods. Next is durable or non-consumable goods. Here, purchase fittings and furnitures made of steel or wood, electrical and electronic devices, all these come under this. So here if you see, if a material is getting damaged, you can repair it. So here you can reuse it. Here if you see, if the computer is getting damaged, you can repair and use it continuously till it lasts. Next, if it has completely got damaged, you cannot repair it at all, then you have to delete it from the stock register permanently. And after deleting, you should get the sign from the manager. You have to inform it to the manager or to some higher authority about it. Next important thing is you have to check the stocks in the library and laboratories regularly. Every year you have to check it regularly. When you check, you'll get to know what is needed more, or is it enough for the next year too. If it is needed, you have to tell to the concerned person to buy those stocks, to buy those materials. Otherwise, you can leave it. So this is about the consumable and durable goods. The last one is management of financial resources. So there are two things under this. One is the source of income of an institution, from where the institution gets income. Income derived from immovable properties. So if you take a land, building, farms, shops, gardens, if you're owing all this, you will get income if someone takes it for rent or lease. So you're going to get an income from that permanently. Next, government grants received. So government will provide some cash to the institution, educational institution. Next, tuition fee, special fee, penalties, all this the institution will get from the students. But these money will be collected from the students only in private schools, not in government schools. Next, donation received. So you will be getting donations from inland and abroad for the improvement of the educational institution. Next, disposal of waste materials. All the waste materials needs to be disposed. Next, second thing is expense of an institution. The institution is spending cash on what? Should give salary to the staffs. Should provide allowance. Now, if you take travel allowance, if the distance of the staff is really far, the distance of the staff's home is really far from the school, and if you had given an agreement to the teacher telling that you will pay for the travel, then you have to provide an allowance for the staff. Next, rent paid for the campus. This is only for some cases. If that school building is yours already, then you need not pay the rent because you are the owner of it. But if you have taken under lease or you have taken it for rent, then you have to pay the rent for the campus. Next, repair and annual maintenance of buildings. So in order to repair some parts of the buildings which has been damaged, you need to pay money. Next, procurement of materials and equipments. If you want some materials and equipments for doing some experiments, or for the sports you want some equipments for the drill, then you need to buy them. Next, taxes paid for the local civic bodies. You need to pay the tax regularly. Next, day-to-day expenses. Day-to-day expenses in a school will be electricity, water charges, telephone charges, repair and maintenance, transport. All these will come under the day-to-day expenses. And the last one is office expenses. In order to get all the materials which is supposed to be in an office, you need to pay. Next, stationery items. So you need to pay for all this. So these are the following things for which the institution has to spend money on. And the first things which we saw is the source of income for the institution from other sources.